Good afternoon. I want to welcome these leaders for coming in to have this very important discussion about some of the most pressing issues of our time. I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. Now, did you listen to that, Logan?
I did, yes.
Yeah, I'm Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a woman sitting at a table in a blue suit. I don't understand.
I'm trying to figure out what the context for that was also. Just as a conference call, I'm guessing, where
maybe
she was just describing
who she was that had met her.
Whoever.
And this clearly was during the last election because she had a mask on.
Yes. Everyone was masked up.
So, I just find it so, there's going to be so much on her. You know, there's a little part of me that's just kind of like wiping my hands together. And look, I want to see a woman president as much as the next person. Okay? But I'm not going to vote for anybody because they're a man, because they're a woman, because they're this or that. I'm going to vote for them because their ideas I agree with. Okay, that's why I vote for people.
Right.
Because I agree with their ideas. I don't care what they look like. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care about any of this. But I'm just kind of sitting here gleefully rubbing my hands. And Logan, back me up. I'm just rubbing my hands together with a smile on my face.
She is wearing a checkerboard shirt, and her pronouns are she, her. No.
That's right. There is so much to use against her that is really kind of funny and not mean-spirited. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? It's like just play a clip of her word salad.
Right. And we've done it many times here on the show.
It's been funny.
It has.
The cackling. She hasn't been doing as much of that lately. Have you noticed that?
I don't think there's been a lot to cackle about. Especially now that this has been kind of thrown on her, and she's got, 100 some odd days to get something figured out.
You know, Bill Maher last week said that, and I have to clean it up, but he said that Donald Trump was the luckiest blankety blank he'd ever seen walk the face of the earth. But I'm going to adjust that. I think that Kamala Harris is the luckiest you-know-what that's ever walked the face of the earth. Here's a woman who never really did anything. Actually, she was very tough on crime in San Francisco. She's not anymore, but she was. She didn't get a single vote in the 2020 primary. She ended up being vice president. She hadn't had to campaign much at all, and now she's going to be the president. I think 90% chance she'll be the presidential nominee. Oh, man, I think this is just great. It is just so good. There's so much more that we're going to keep talking about right here on the Martha Zoller Show. But the big news today, of course, is that Joe Biden dropped out. I'm assuming there will be a White House press briefing today. I mean, if I'm Karine Jean-Pierre, I am girding my loins at this point in time because there's going to be 5,000 questions and all they're going to want to talk about is Joe Biden getting out of the race. And here's what she's going to say. I'm just going to, you don't have to watch it because I can already tell you what she's going to say. She's going to say that's campaign related. I can't comment on that. But the president of the United States is still the president of the United States, and he's going to keep working on the issues. So anyway, that's what's happening. Okay, so Steve said to me, I'm coming with you, but minus the internet, I will bring books, is what he said, because I said in the last one that I'm at this point where I'd like to just have, internet and UPS. I do want to stream my masterpiece. That's why I need internet. I do have a PBS passport, and I do support PBS programming. Okay. I do because I watch a lot of Masterpiece and I like the fact that they can have that there. Now, later on this week, it's just a little bit shift in a subject, big shift in the subject. If you recall, over the years, we have had a lot of guests to talk about the Morris Ford lynching that happened on July 25th, 1946. And the anniversary of that is coming up. And people really still have not been brought to justice on this. And it was a horrific, terrible thing that happened in our history in Georgia that we need to not forget and we need to learn from. And we need to make sure, especially in the counties where this happened, Oconee and Walton County, these are booming counties today. There's a lot of people living there that didn't live there before and have nothing to do with this history. I'm not saying that it should be put on them at all. What I am saying is you need to know the history so that you never repeat it. This is one of those things. Morris Ford lynching, October 7th. Pearl Harbor, concentration camps, Holocaust. These are things you never want to repeat because they're so horrifically evil. And it goes to show you where if you get a mob of people together, doesn't matter what color they are, doesn't matter whatever, they will sometimes do things that are so horrifically evil because they're humans and there's evil in the world. And if we forget it, I don't want to dwell on it if we forget it. So I had a little back and forth on Sunday with my friend Theron Johnson, and he kept coming back to this. What policy did Donald Trump do that was for black people? And, I said to him, I brought up things like tax cuts and the economy being better and people being employed. But no, for black people. I said, I don't know what policies are that are just for black people. And then he brought up, and this was off the air, he said, well, reparations. And I was just like, I cannot even believe you're saying that. Okay. I love Theron Johnson. He is like a son to me. And I have known him. He's a dear friend. I have known him for years. But he is a uber successful person that just moved into a house that I can't afford. And I don't begrudge him that. I love that. But he's talking about reparations. And then he said under his breath, driving while black. Now, that is a legit issue that people have, that people get stopped for no reason. But there's no policy that's going to fix that. That is a human heart issue. This is why I say what we got to get back to. For the reason why when I describe myself, I say I am a Christian wife, mother. I am an American. I'm a Georgian. I'm a conservative. I'm a Republican. I mean, it's like the seventh thing down on the list. Okay? Because if you don't have your moral foundation right, in my case, it's being a Christian, but it could be being Jewish, it could be being Hindu, it could be being, whatever. You've got to have that moral compass in place, because if you don't, that's how evil things like driving while black happen. That's where evil things like the Moore's Ford lynching happens. It's when you have lost that foundation. And the worst thing, the absolute worst thing in the world, whether they're radical Islamists or they're Westboro Baptist Church people, when you use religion as your reason for doing evil, you have corrupted it to the point that you make a lot of people walk away from it. And it is not the religion or the God or in my case, the Savior that makes a religion bad. It is the human beings that make bad decisions in the name of that religion and do evil things because of that religion. And, I don't even want to hear about the Crusades, because that was 500, however many years ago, hundreds of years ago. I'm more worried about what's happening in the here and now. I am more worried about the silence among women who will take the street to protest against things that have not happened yet related to their so-called reproductive health. And let me tell you something, there's nothing reproductive or healthy about an abortion, okay? There's nothing reproductive or healthy about that. But they'll take the streets for that, but they're silent about the women who are being sexually assaulted every single day in Israel. And let's bring it back closer to home. They will take the street about so-called abortion rights, but they will not stand up about the sex trafficking that's happening in our own country and the 21st century slavery that's coming across the border. Folks, we got to look in the mirror, and we've got to say, what is the most important thing for us to do? And the most important thing for us to do is not to be gleeful about Joe Biden being out of the race, although there'd be dancing in the streets of certain cities across this country if Donald Trump got out. There would have been dancing in the streets in certain cities in this country if he'd been killed 10 days ago. But we've got to make sure that we've got our focus right before we get into the political. We'll be back on the Martha Zoller Show.